Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It is May 21st, 2024. So today I wanted to talk about something that's really near and dear to my heart, which is weight fluctuations, and also what I've noticed since becoming Orthodox and how that's really changed my perspective. And just a little bit more about that. So being a woman, I'm going to start talking about it being pre-Orthodox, before Orthodoxy. Being raised as a woman without God, without the church, we are sort of being trained that our value, our identity is in the way that we look as women, how pretty we are, how thin we are, how fit we are, how our hair looks. It's really about appearance, where a woman is trained to get her value. And it's still that way today. If you look at online, that's all you're going to hear from anywhere online, certainly the manosphere. But like, you need to be somebody who's fit, who is pretty, who keeps herself together, who knows how to dress, who this or that, doesn't get fat. It's very focused for women on the importance of how they look as their value. um, so as kids, certainly as women, we may not have gotten the education of how to eat right, how to exercise. So a lot of us grew up experimenting. How do I make this work? How do I become what everybody wants me to be? Because there's an idea that our identity is what other people, if other people accept us and think, oh, she's pretty, she's thin, she's got it together, then we'll be liked, then we'll be accepted, then we're part of society, right? We've made it. And this is a huge struggle. I certainly have been in the struggle. I've grown up with friends and watched them through eating disorders, through exercise addictions, through you name it, binging, purging, um, going on crazy diets that are only this X, Y, or Z food for months at a time. People passing out. This was normal for me in middle school. I guess it started in middle school. Um, the first time I can remember was maybe when I was 12 years old, looking in the mirror and thinking that I was too big. Um, and so, and as recently as last year, I had an 84-year-old client that was still struggling with weight issues and the way she perceived herself as not being good enough because she was still overweight, and she had been overweight her whole life. So this is not new for women. It is really taxing mentally. It's exhausting. It's a constant struggle for some women more than others, depending on the background, but it's been a struggle. So I have made my job into being a personal trainer because how important it is for me to remind myself and others the importance of eating well and exercising as a lifestyle, rather than letting your brain take control and going on fad diets or exercising too much and then stopping exercising or whatever have you. For me, it's very, very important to continue to struggle to live a healthy life, which means exercise and eating right. But that's not always how it's been for me, um, or others that I've known. So I wanted to talk about a little bit about pre-Orthodox, and then what I learned about weight fluctuations after Orthodoxy. So before Orthodoxy, I feel that, in a sense, vanity can be worshipped by the individual. That could be the source of why they want to be thin and fit. They, like I was saying at the beginning of the video, the women want to be accepted by society as pretty, as good looking, as attractive and desirable, right? Vanity, as the reason. So then they might eat well and exercise, but the reason, the drive behind that, the motivation is vanity. So from the outside, it might look like, oh, they have it all together. They care about themselves, they value themselves, but the reality is that person wants approval there from others. So I guess you could tie that into low self-esteem, but it could be vanity. I want to be pretty. I want people to think I'm pretty. Um, Another thing driving, if someone is in shape, we could think that it could possibly be a control issue. So, um, for those before you're in Orthodoxy, you could think, well, I need to really control my food. It makes me feel good that I have control because everything else in my life is out of control, but I can control my food. I can control what I eat. I can control what I order in the restaurants. I can control what I have in my home. So it's a sense of control to manipulate your diet, right? So that could be the motivation behind it is you feel that little sense of control. I took a few notes before I started. Another reason that one could be fit prior to Orthodoxy would be um, pride. You think you're better than others. I have fallen into this trap as well as all the others. So please don't hold me up. When you get fit or someone starts to feel like they work out and they eat right, there's this sense of, wow, I'm better than other people. I've reached like an elite status. People look up to me, right? That pride is addicting. And of course, that's Satan's original sin, right? That was his thing is I want to be like God. Like I want people to worship me. I want people to look at how good I am. That's very addicting, especially if you've been out of shape at some point in your life and then you start feeling this like, yeah, I'm something special. That can be addicting. So that could be a reason for it. Another reason that one would be fit prior to Orthodoxy would be a social group. So people could go to the gym, they see the same people, they get friends, right? They see that they have that camaraderie of like, oh, I'm doing this, you're doing this. Maybe we can go out and have a protein shake afterwards. Same way with yoga. I was in the yoga community. It was, okay, my mat goes over here, your mat is over there. Here's our teacher. She's wearing the, we're all yogis. We all do the same thing. We wear the same things. We eat the same way. We're vegan. It's like a club. And that can be addicting too, is to feel this sense of inclusion. And that the byproduct is then being fit because you want to be around your friends. So that was something I put down. Another reason maybe you'd be fit before finding Orthodoxy is, that's it. I put control. We already talked about that. Control of your food. So what have I noticed post Orthodoxy? Like, how does all that change? What I've noticed from going into Orthodoxy is that now we worship God. It's very clear that we worship God. So right away, you realize that the self-worship, the worship of your body, is no longer an option. It is an option, but you now know that that is not the end all be all. Prior to Orthodoxy, before knowing the truth, you kind of think that maybe if I get fit, that'll be it. That'll be that thing that gets me what I'm looking for, that sense of wholeness. Once you become Orthodox, you realize that's not going to do it. God is the only thing that's going to fill that hole. That the only thing that I can worship is God. It's not my body. So that's huge. Also with the vanity thing, like being pretty. Oh, well, maybe if I'm pretty, you worship this idea that maybe if I'm pretty enough and people like me, I'll be whole. In Orthodoxy, you realize very quickly that regardless of what you look like, you worship God. And any way that you look, it doesn't matter ultimately because God made you the way that he made you. So it's not a competition anymore. Everyone is on their own journey with God. Well, kind of on their own journey. We're all in a community in Orthodoxy saving each other together. So there's that. And these are our brothers and sisters. No one's better than anyone. No one is worse than anyone. We're all together, kind of holding hands, pulling each other towards salvation. Now that's the goal, rather than, oh, look, I worked out more than this person. I'm better than that person. There's no more of that. And if there is, it's a temptation. It's a passion, right? And it goes in its proper place. And that's something we try to get rid of. So that's a massive change in perception, in your ideology, in your worldview about your place in the world and what will fulfill you ultimately, right? What else? Yeah, I also wrote kind of reiterating what I said. Your self-worth as somebody who's fit, your self-worth on someone who's pretty or thin, is no longer there. Now you understand that you will be judged not by other people. Well, they may in this life, right? But ultimately, we care about the way God looks at us, and God isn't looking at the externals, but the internals and the virtues. So now we have a shift towards, is my bicep toned enough to, am I treating my neighbor well? Am I giving passive aggressive faces to people that I don't like? So I'm laughing, but this is true. Like, you realize that there's a door in your house that maybe has not been opened, and you see all this like dust that you've never seen before because you've been looking at the outside of the house. And now, like, trying to fix all the windows and making them really pretty for people on the outside to see. But on the inside of the house, where now God can see in there, you start to realize, wow, I'm actually not very patient. I don't really like to serve, right? I don't like to do things for other people. I don't like to, um, I don't know, what have you. I just don't love people for whatever reason. Um, I don't want to pray, little, things like that, where you realize that it's now about that. That's what God's looking at, not what you look like on the outside. um, your social circle changes. So now, whereas before you had the yoga community or the gym community, or I don't know, maybe you were in martial arts or something, and that was like your community, like you wanted to be part of that community. And like the best yogi was like looked at as like lauded as the most amazing person, or the most fit guy in the gym was like worshipped as like, wow, how did you do that? What's your lat pull down routine? I don't know, whatever. Now you're in the church. So your social circle changes, and now we're all following God. Like, that's the thing, that the cohesive element that's pulling us all together, rather than the vanity aspect or the just the bodily aspect. Now we have this huge metaphysical, spiritual family that's behind us that means so much more. These people look different. So this was kind of a niche group that you were in before Orthodoxy when it comes to fitness. Now your family is full of all sorts of people and all ages. Whereas before you kind of were sticking with one age group, right? In your fitness, maybe you went to a Zumba class and they were all moms your same age and you could bond over that. Now your community is really different. You have younger teenage girls in your family, you have older grandpa type guys, you have aunts and uncles, and you have all different types of body types, um, and all different kind of lifestyles. So your understanding of people has now just broadened, because now you're hanging out with all sorts of different people, and they don't necessarily worship the body as you did before, potentially, right? You're bonding over something different. And so that will change the way you see the world, the way you see the importance of fitness. What else? Yeah, what did I say? Pride. Yeah, again, once you're in the church, pride is no longer looked at like on the externally outside of Orthodoxy. Pride is sort of looked at as a good thing. Like, you better have confidence. You see all these Instagram videos that are like, I look in the mirror every morning and I tell myself I am beautiful, I am bold, I am this. And then in all the comments, they're like, yeah, girl, you do you. It's so great to see you shining. That's not the way it is in Orthodoxy. It's certainly not that Orthodox culture doesn't praise confidence in oneself or self identity, or feeling good about oneself. It's that pride is sort of, we understand our place in the world. There's God way up here, and then there's us doing all these nonsensical things down below. So there's a sense of humility now that is really appreciated. And to be honest, it is so relieving in general to be offered, like, hey, would you prefer being humble rather than trying to achieve this proud, I'm better than everyone, I work out all the time lifestyle? Like, which energy would you prefer to have? And since becoming Orthodox and being offered the humble pie, if you will, and like trying it on for size, it's so much more relieving to be like, I'm actually not that great. It's almost like a big show before Orthodoxy. of like, I'm this, I'm that, I can do this, and you can too, and it's da 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 da. And now it's like, I do my best. You know, sometimes I have things working out for me, but a lot of the times I don't. And I found that being such a huge perk of Orthodoxy, of getting to kind of relax and be like, I'm really not that great. I do the best I can, but that's about it. And everyone else is pretty much in the same camp, and it kind of levels the playing field. And we're all working on the inside, the virtues on the inside, right? It's really relieving. So I would say that's a big difference also when one becomes Orthodox. Um, so going to weight gain and weight fluctuations. For me personally, when I became Orthodox, I actually gained probably 15 pounds after being accepted to the church, because I quit yoga, and yoga was my social group. And so all those things I was saying before, that was part of my lifestyle. So I gained weight, and it was good. It was good for me. It was a Now, was it good for my body? No. Is it good for my bodily health? Not really. But for on a mental and a spiritual plane, if you will, yeah, it was. To give up so much and leave space for the church and God, I didn't really know how that was going to work. But having to cut yoga, which was my fitness routine, cold turkey, and then I needed something to replace it because I wasn't used to having God. But now I have God, but I'm struggling to pray. And it was this like back and forth of like, oh, I don't have yoga. What am I going to do? Am I going to, so for me, it was actually a good thing. It made me self conscious. It made me, I'm going to say the word proud, but not in, it made me proud, and it made me be like, realize I was serious about Orthodoxy. And it made me look at myself like, I'm the type of person that does what I make changes in my life when I believe something. Even if it means kind of the death of being that beautiful, fit person. And so that was such a huge, wonderful benefit to becoming Orthodox, is that being able to see the lengths that we go to try to do the right thing. That was sort of the first time I saw that, and that was really exciting. So there was quite a big weight gain initially after becoming Orthodox. After a while, after it kind of cooled down, I realized I did need to start going to the gym and learning how to really incorporate training, which has always been part of my life. Personal training has been in my life for a while. I was a personal trainer when I converted. And I've never ceased being effective at my job. It was my own personal body that was changing based on Orthodoxy. So, yeah, weight gain initially. But after a while, it went away, maybe year two. I got back into working out and eating a little bit better and like learning how to do these things. Fasting was a part of it. Fasting is challenging. However, I had a leg up because when I was a yogi, I was vegan. So I kind of learned how to eat when I was vegan in a healthful way. That said, on the big, huge fasting periods, this is a time where we don't eat meat or dairy, right? Or fish or any kind of like animal products for quite a while. I found, and I've gone through a few of these fasting periods now, I've found different reactions based on my life at different times. There have been times where I have lost considerable amount of weight because I didn't eat very much. There have been times that I've gained weight because I decided to eat crappy vegan food on the fasting and go the other way and gain weight. And there was a time where I didn't fluctuate either way. So I think those fasting periods are very telling about your internal state as well. It is humbling. At the beginning of the fast, you think that you're going to do something. And also, a lot of the times at the beginning of the fast, you can tell, like, am I going to do this for spiritual growth, or am I going to use this for getting my body back to looking the way I did, like vanity reasons? are you going to care if you gain a few pounds for the fast? Which seems counterintuitive, but it really can happen that you can gain quite a bit over the fast if you eat poorly because you feel like you're giving something up. So you go to chips, or in my case, Skittles, or whatever it is. I know Skittles, I know. I've always liked Skittles. So anyway, what else? Yeah, that's the end of my notes. So in conclusion, what am I saying? I'm saying that being Orthodox is great for watching yourself from a health perspective and knowing that gaining weight here and there or losing weight is not nearly as important as your spiritual health. It is important, but it loses that quality of needing to be worshiped. Like your weight needs to be something that you must maintain at a certain level, because once you're Orthodox, I mean, like I was saying, after converting, those 15 pounds was actually such a really big gift for me, in my spiritual life. So anyway, that's what I have for you. I wish you guys the best of luck. I still am a huge advocate and proponent of working out all the time and eating as well as you can, but we do the best we can, right? And I've always, my training, one of my teachers when I was into yoga said that we should be bronze medal students and always go for the bronze medal. And I've certainly applied that to Orthodoxy as well. Like, we're just going to do the best we can. I have very quickly realized becoming Orthodox, that we're not that great. I certainly am not that great. And so that's the same way that if you look at weight that way, it kind of gives you a little sense of relaxing of like, yeah, we should keep it under control. But also, if there's fluctuations here and there, it's not the end of the world. God is looking at virtues. And sometimes you fluctuate in a way that you need to remind yourself that you're not God and you don't have control and your social circle isn't depending on it, right? Pride, the way you look, is not the most important thing in the world at all. It really is how close we are with God. And that is such a task to undertake in itself. So anyway, that's all I'm sharing with you guys today. I would love to hear what you think, if you've had any similar situations with weight fluctuations, and I will catch you guys in the next video.